What's up, guys? My name is David Powell, and this is Powell Sports Media, my small sports show where I discuss some of my favorite sports and athletes. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
Guys, I don't know what I watched last night. After months of build-up, talk of roster changes, the introduction of new guys on the team, just the overall excitement of this being the centennial season, the Detroit Red Wings opened the 2025-2026 campaign last night with a pretty ugly 5-1 loss to the Montreal Canadiens. For those of you who didn't watch the game, congratulations. The Wings did not play good hockey yesterday. It was an ugly loss and one that I'm looking to quickly forget as we move further into the season. Just a kind of a quick recap of what happened, kind of the highlights. The game started on a high note. Dylan Larkin took a pass from Patrick Kane and nailed a first period power goal pretty early in the game to get the season off to what looked like a good start. It was a pretty good looking goal, and vibes seemed pretty high after the first one. I know I was pretty excited. From there, unfortunately, everything kind of went downhill. About halfway through the first period, Montreal got on the board as a pass was sent up the ice. It actually bounced off the boards and found its way to Zachary Bolduc, who beat John Gibson, the Red Wings goalie, on a one-on-one to tie it up. It was a pretty ugly one-on-one, so a pretty easy goal for the Canadiens. From there, Montreal built up their momentum and they scored a second goal, once again on an odd man rush. Something we'll talk about a little bit later in the video, but the odd man rushes last night were just really bad. Red Wings gave up several odd man rushes, a lot of goals that you hope to not see, and the defense was kind of the main culprit for some of them. Just the lack of defense was really the problem, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. With 7 seconds left in that first period, Montreal struck again. They took a 3-1 lead over the Wings, headed into the first intermission. Super ugly first period. I didn't think we were out of it after that first period. I was hoping that they'd kind of jump back on something on the second period. But honestly, the Canadiens kind of just coasted to the win throughout the rest of the game. Montreal tagged on 2 more goals, so they ended 5-1 with the final score, and they just stifled the Red Wings on defense. And so, yeah, overall, just an ugly showing from the Wings. One of the biggest things that stood out to me, it was really, like I said, Detroit's lack of defense. For what it seemed like the entire game, it looked a lot like last year's team. Last year's team struggled with defense as well, and this year's team, at least from one game, didn't look any better to me, which is super disappointing. There were just way too many odd man rushes last night for Montreal. That totally left Gibson out to dry. You can't do that to your goalie, not if you want to win games. Something to note moving forward, especially the defensive pairing of Albert Johansson and Travis Hamonic, or Hamonic, totally pronouncing his name wrong. But that pair, that defensive pair, was just absolutely awful. The pair finished the game with a -3 plus minus. And that means that they were on the team, they were on the ice. They were the 2 defensive men on the ice for all 3 of the 5 goals that Montreal scored. So just, it was not a performance that was good. So you kind of hope that McClellan will go to the locker room and practices, and he'll fix something, hopefully, moving forward, because you can't put those 2 on the ice again if they're going to play like that, like they did last night. You just won't win games like that. Gibson, the goalie, we got him from the Anaheim Ducks this offseason. He didn't play particularly well either. Like I said, some of those goals were pretty much impossible to stop because of the lack of defense. But Gibson didn't play well either. He was pulled towards the end of the second period, and he gave up all 5 of the goals on 13 shots. Not a good showing for Gibson. Hopefully he can pick it up moving forward. Overall, rough night. Definitely not the way you want to start the season. But I keep telling myself, and I think we all have to remember that there's 81 games left to play. So we definitely I don't think we should hit the panic button yet. I was close last night, I'm not gonna lie. But I'm gonna give it a couple more games before I start jumping to any conclusions. But definitely some things to take from that first game. You really just they gotta clean some stuff up. With that being said, moving forward, the Wings schedule it's super hard. They have an absolute gauntlet to start the season. They play Toronto, the Maple Leafs, twice. Next up, the next game being on Saturday. After that, they go and they play Florida, reigning Stanley Cup champions. After that, they play Tampa Bay, and then they play a game against Edmonton, who was that second team to make the finals last season. So it's gauntlet to start the season. Several hard games in there. It's gonna test the Red Wings. So I think it's gonna be a rough start to the season. But hopefully the team can figure some stuff out, and we'll see where they're at in a couple of weeks. Should be interesting. That's all I've got for you guys today. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.
Yeah.